concerns? Do you have someone in your family that died? Does this conflict with the value statement? What's the surgery for? Gastric bypass?
Sleeve.
Gastric sleeve, but it's a weight loss mechanism?
Yeah, because my supposedly my bad insulin level is at the same as a woman double my weight.
Okay, insulin is what?
Crazy.
I want you to listen to the words. You see how I got one card and I have the whole session? She said my insulin level. What is insulin? Sugar. Insulin is the hormone that releases sugar from the pancreas. What is it when someone needs double the sugar in their life? What is the body saying about you? That's one of the games we're playing today. We're going to do it in a different way, but this is a way it comes up in the session. Why would a client need double the amount of hormone to release double the amount of sugar? What's sugar?
It gives you like energy.
Gives you energy. Maybe she's feeling lethargic. It's sweetness. Maybe she needs more sweetness in her life. And of course, we know that you're still missing your brother. Maybe this started, you could ask the client, when did this start? Maybe it started right around the time that he died. Do you see how everything is coming together? All the things I've taught you, and you just ask the questions. They fall off your tongue because it's just logic. It's just like if you were having a conversation with a friend. When did this begin?
No, you said it. Like I've been, I'm not a binge eater, like an emotional eater.
Okay.
Since my brother passed, and I don't eat right. Like I literally eat maybe once a day sometimes. Other times I'll eat nothing all day, and then the next day I'll eat like maybe 3 times. Like I'm completely out of whack.
Could you live without insulin?
No.
You would die. Why would she need to double her life?
For her brother.
She's living a life of 2. This is why I said it's a flip-flop. Her energy, calories, sugar, and her mind and her life purpose has turned into honoring her brother's memory rather than living Marsha's life. That's why the cards flipped. Did you guys see that? I did nothing. I did nothing, people. This isn't hard. Did everyone see that? Is it true?
Yes.
You were going to say.
So is the surgery going to help?
It's supposed to.
No, but I mean, like, will it help?
I don't know. She's telling us.
Well, I went to the nutritionist doctor yesterday, which actually made me feel a lot better because she was able to, like, I don't understand all the medical terminology when the doctor's trying to explain the results. So I'm like always like, yeah, oh yeah, I understand. But I really don't understand nothing. And she literally went over everything, and she just told me that no matter what I do, it'll take me years before I even start seeing any effect of my bad insulin going back to normal, because of the fact that I'm at a double, like my bad insulin level is at the same weight as somebody almost double my weight. And then I'm at high risk for diabetes. I'm only half a point away. And then I'm also very high risk for cardiovascular diseases, which in my family, that's on both sides. So right away, like I have everybody around me worried, but I'm worried. But then at the same time, they told me it prevents all that.
Why are you confused about the surgery? You don't sound confused. You sound very definitive.
It's more of.
That's the equivalent of thin crust. Did you hear how certain she sounds? Right?
No,
there didn't seem to be any trepidation in her voice. You need to pay attention to those incongruencies.
Because my husband and my mom are like totally like telling me that they're against it. Oh my God, don't do it.
Okay, so stop.
Are these risk factors that might have like complications if you do the surgery? That's
no.
No, what she said is that they would eliminate those risk factors, especially the heart issue. She said 2 things that completely shows you why her chart came out flip-flopped. Who is she making the decision for?
Herself, but then she's not because they don't know.
Her brother, and then her husband and her mother. Nowhere have you met, you're not confused. You're allowing the other people in your life. What is the opposite of 1? What is the 7th house?
Partnerships, marriage.
Partnerships, other people, marriage. You are, when you have the 1-7, it's very important. Write this on your blank sheet. The 1-7 axis is about you or the other. Super important. Is your client responding to themselves, the house of self, or are they doing something or responding to the other? And look at this. Her 7th house is a card of premeditation. Thinking about it. They are for sure determined that they're against it. They've premeditated. And so is she identifying her confusion with what her friends and family say? Totally. So she's letting the other make her choice. Not what you want, especially for a Taurus. Tauruses are stubborn and they know what they want. That's the part of you want to honor. But you're afraid because you don't want to let anyone down. And my friend, being in a health situation like you, I understand, and it's very difficult. The other day I had a very dear friend of mine, and she meant well because she also went through breast cancer and she's also lost her hair. Don't shave your head. I could not take that thought out of my head for days. Oh my God, I'm going to shave my head, and what is she going to say? What is she going to think? This isn't somebody who's like super important in my life, but she is a dear friend. And she went through it. Will I let her down? That's our problem. We have been conditioned, and especially women, and we're all women in here. Please the other. Fuck the other.
Yeah.
You sound, when you watch this video, I want you to see the certainty in your face and hear the certainty in your voice. Because there was not 1 ounce of trepidation. Not 1 ounce of doubt when you were talking about getting the surgery. Your priorities are you're worried about what the others will say and do. And then, an intuition that I'm getting is, of course, the fear of dying. Because if you are subconsciously living your brother's life, he died, that you have a fear of dying. That's your genuine fear, not whether or not to get it. Your fear, your confusion is, will I die? Is there a risk factor of death?
No, it's like a very minimal, it's like the lowest risk, but it's just hearing like my mom and my husband say that, like it just brought it to my thoughts, you know, like when, like from the beginning, as soon as I found out about everything, like, and my doctors started mentioning it, and then they started sending me for my tests and all that, they were already right away like, oh, you've already had so many surgeries, you gotta be careful. And my husband's like, I wouldn't want nothing to happen to you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, already like, great, like, I don't want to think about that. And my mom yesterday, oh, you know, remember you're gonna be put under anesthesia, and so that did, you know, cross my mind. I mean, right after I left the appointment yesterday, I felt like so great. And then she calls me out of nowhere and she starts saying that. I'm like, oh, great.
I felt so great.
And my husband,
that's
right
the true identity. That's the true intention of what she wants to do. What is my definition of self versus selfish? You should know this. I will make a slide for you. Say it. You know it. I know you know it. And if you mess up, it doesn't matter. I don't know what, I don't come here prepared and meet Marsha behind the door and go, okay, say this and do this, and I don't flip the card. You know it. Trust yourself.
I can't get the word though, but
it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact vocabulary. I can interpret what you're saying.
it's like,
Tell me in your words.
when you're like how you treat yourself, and like how you actually treat yourself versus, I don't know how to put it, I'm sorry.
Okay, how you treat yourself versus, that's right. versus
like,
what?
How you like don't, like when you interact and I can't get the word.
Okay, yes you do. Stop saying you don't. You're setting intentions to fail. No. Okay, we got this. Yes, how you treat yourself versus how you don't treat yourself, meaning perhaps how others want you to be treated or how others want to treat you and you'll allow it. Self has to do when you don't take anyone's power and you don't give away your power. So you treat yourself as the priority. You're absolutely right. You will fine-tune and find your own language. Don't worry about sounding like me. Don't take others' power. And, super important, don't give away, because people think that doing for another is selfless. And bullshit. Selflessness does not exist. We are not Mother Teresa's or Gandhi's. Those are very few in the world. And it's not in this lifetime that you're going to get there probably, so stop trying. And don't give away your power. Selfish is when you give away your power or you take someone else's. Which one is Marsha doing?
Selfish.
Do you think you're being selfish in this situation, or do you think you're being self? Self means self-worth. Which one do you think, based on that definition?
That I'm doing?
Yeah. You left the doctor, you were convinced you were great, and then mom called you and screwed it all up. Are you being self, first house, or are you being selfish, seventh?
I think I'm being self.
Why? Based on that definition, why are you being self?
Because I feel like I know what I'm gonna do, so I'm just.
Interesting.
I just know that
What payoff, what need does it fulfill for you to pretend that you're honoring your mother and your husband, my friend?
What need?
Yep. Why do you need to pretend that you're honoring them when really, Taurus as you are, know that you're already gonna fucking do the surgery and that this is all a false? It's the mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mask. You're putting on a mask because there's a value, there's the value that if I pretend and make everybody feel that they are going to make a decision when I'm a fucking Taurus and I already know, I'm just pretending, there has to be a need there that fulfilled. The need, as in the model, states that it comes from childhood. What was your role in the family when you needed to do something? Did you have to put on a show and pretend and say yes to everything? That everybody felt good and heard and taken care of? Were you the nurturer?
No, I was really rebellious.
Okay, so she was rebellious. Okay, fine. But see, I asked a question. I didn't get the answer I expected. I'm not dying.
I mean,
it's
I
okay.
just always did what I wanted to do. And they
But,
didn't like it.
And what?
And they didn't like it.
Okay, so when did you start learning to hide that you're going to do what you want to do, but you realize that if you put on a show, you get more out of it?
Oh.
Oh, there was not even a time to doubt that that was something. When did that happen?
I would say probably like when I was on the street, like I had to, there was no other way, like I had to play the role of somebody else all the time.
What need does that fulfill? What need of the 4 needs is she referring to? When I was on the streets.
Protection, security.
It's protection and security. Safety and security and protection, the first 2 needs. Her basic needs of safety and protection, we know were not met because she was on the streets at such a young age, and you're still putting on a mask to pretend you're going to please the others when you really know that you're going to do whatever te sale del culo, and you're just putting on a show. It's a way of surviving in your family. It's okay. I don't need to convince the client that she has to do it otherwise. My job is to bring her to what? Awareness. I was going to say the Band-Aid, and you already knew the answer. So now you have awareness around the fact that you're pretending to be confused, that you already have a premeditation, you're pretending it's them, but you're the one who's premeditating, you're faking it so that they feel good, and now we have just figured out that all you're doing is going back to childhood where you learned a survival tactic.
Yeah, because they feel like, I mean, they constantly talk about, oh, if I get that done, that it's you know, oh, it's just to be a quick fix or whatever. It's not. That's not like you get liposuction and everything gets just taken away and you're boom, you're done.
Okay, stop. What is she talking about? She just switched to a new value statement. What judgment did she just mention?
Cosmetic.
Cosmetic. We're talking body image now. You went from health all the way to body image.
Yeah, because that's what they keep telling me.
Okay,
like,
so their whole thing is that you're doing this for weight loss.
Right, and I'm not. I'm doing this for my health.
Okay.
I'm tired of all the medical issues.
Who in your family, mother or father, taught you about body image being the most important thing?
My mother.
Your mother. Do you not want to be just like your mother? Absolutely not. It's not your mother and your husband that are the ones stressed out about, oh my God, it's weight loss, like liposuction. That's what you said. You, at the root, are afraid that if you do this, if this was called, I don't know, the chimichanga surgery, you would have no problem. But because it's called the gastric sleeve and it is implied that it's a weight loss and people go for weight loss, not for your double insulin issue, yeah, you put it in the body image thread, the body image box. My mother was a body image whore, and I don't want to be anything like her. So you're the one judging yourself for wanting this surgery. If the byproduct is weight loss, great. Who gives a shit? This does not make you your mother.
No, right. No,
Mother is in the 10th house.
I wasn't aware of like a lot of stuff yesterday until...
Is your mom a fool? Mother, the fool. Come in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
May I speak to Tricia Smith?
She's not here.
Not here?
She's
Not here.
MIA. So the 10th house, is that written there in the 10th house, mother?
Yeah.
Put it in your blank. The mother axis and the father axis are the 410. Work, mom, home, dad. It is believed that in the old times when we had a mom staying at home and dad going to work, that it used to be the mother, the father and the mother. Now, because mom and dads are both working and staying at home, there's that duality, that the whole axis, 410, is mother-father. So you could pick. I just went straight to the 10, and it's the Fool. So her confusion is because her mother's a fool, and she wants to pretend to please her mother and her husband. So I can't write on the carpet, but I'm making like an X. I mean like a square. Anytime something is perpendicular in the chart, like this, it's a problem. So the 1 to the 4, the 1 to the 7, and the 1 to the 10, if there are 2 cards in those placements, that right there is a problem. So you know she has confusion with her mother, the Fool, and her husband who's already made the decision for her. And we just spent all this time talking about it, but it was already there the whole time. And that goes for everything. This has the opposite. The 2 has the 8. I mean, I don't know why I keep doing that. Look at that. I did it again. That's the 12. The 12 has the 6. So it's opposite. The 12 has the 9. So this is the square. And it has the 3. The 3. I don't know why. No. Is that the 3?
12 has a 6 and the 3 has a 9.
Okay, that. Anything with numbers, I mess up. Doesn't matter if it's my career. Okay? So it's related to mom. How dare she get, quote unquote, the easy way out when her mother had to work using her body? And she wants to be nothing like mom because she doesn't find men to support her. She doesn't use her body. What might happen if Marcia gets beautiful, thin? I think you're beautiful already, but for you, this is your judgment, and you end up looking like your mother. What might you be capable of doing? You don't have to answer this, but write it down. What might you be capable of doing if you looked and had the body like your mom? Think of what age you are and what she was doing at your age. How old are you?
38.
What was she doing at 38? What marriage number was she on, or Mr. Boyfriend?
I don't even know.
Exactly. How old was your brother when he passed?
33.
Okay. So within 5 years. It's usually within the two-year mark. But it's a viable question. If it doesn't fit, then you go on to a new theory.
I mean, it was 2 years ago that he passed.
Oh, okay. So there's the 2.
Yeah, he's 2 years younger than me.
Okay. We see? Do we see how to use this? Did that help?
Yeah.
Do you see how you can use these cards and with just one card, the first one, or they could just pick one out of a deck? You have the whole session starting to unravel, and you just have to ask questions, logical questions that you would ask your girlfriend at work. Dialoguing, that's all you're doing. You're just being empathic. You're not preaching. I need to take my own advice. She said she was channeling me, and I'm like, I know! I'm such a bitch! Oh my God, this is why I'm getting punished! I'm like, I'm so mean, I'm always preaching and giving people lessons, no more! Now I don't want to take, I can dish it out, but I can't take it.
That was kind of mean now that I think about it.
No, it wasn't mean. Nothing you do is mean.
No, right? I'm like, wait.
There's not a vein of bone in her body. Or, let me make a funny, a hair on your head. My hair is falling out in chunks.
Yeah, I got
Like,
the
look
joke.
at the garbage can. So I'm going to go pixie today,
Ooh.
and then it'll fall out, and we'll figure it out.
Pixie will be fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't know how long it'll last. After one session, they didn't do my session yesterday because I have no immune system. So I'm really aggravated. That's where she said her smart ass comment that this is teaching me patience. And I was like, yeah, I know, fuck you.
But she was nice enough not to tell me.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so does this make sense?
It'll
Yeah.
go back fast.
It'll grow back, yeah.
Of course.
When you know what they mean, it makes sense.
Okay, well, we're gonna finish going through the wheel. But like any career, you have to study, right?
Yeah.
I didn't learn this overnight. But the beautiful thing is that these cards are labeled. There's a little book. In your session, you can say to your client, hold on. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to shuffle those, and I want you to pick one card. Welcome, Jennifer. How are you today? Oh, we're going to start with setting an intention for our session. How do you feel about that?
I feel great.
Great. I'm going to give you a deck of cards that are called archetype cards. Archetypes are like our psychological organs.
Thought there was going to be one there.
Oh my God, you're never going to guess the one that
Is
came
it the
out.
vampire?
No, it's mentor. She's always saying she wants me to be her mentor.
I hear
Okay? So I don't need to know the meaning. I know how to read.
Yeah.
The light. So Jennifer, are you in search of a mentor?
Oh, yes, I am.
Well, there
I
you
found
go.
one.
You found one? Okay. Is she bald?
And
And bougie?
Wait, I was like, I don't know how to answer.
Okay, the light attribute, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. Shadow, inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master, imparting false instruction. You want me to be your mentor. If I were a shadow mentor, like in my mythology knowledge of Busiris, I wouldn't encourage you to go and do, and I would criticize the fact that you're shy and that you don't. That would be me harming you. And that would be you being selfish, allowing me to take your power. True student-mentor relationships don't do that. When I was in grad school for my second master's degree, there was a girl doing her PhD in the department. And her mentor would not let her graduate. She would not let her graduate. That girl stayed there. I think I was almost done with my PhD, probably at my dissertation phase, and I had gone back to visit, and she was still there. I know that I was pregnant, had kids, and she was still there. That is unhealthy. That is not pushing you out of the nest. So if we set an intention, you don't need to know what it means. The cards speak to you. And if worse came to worse, and I didn't know how to read that, or I didn't understand, let's see what the book says, Jennifer. Master, counselor, tutor, see also teacher. Mythology, based on the character in the Odyssey. Does everyone know the Odyssey?
Yes.
The famous mythological book? To whom Odysseus entrusted the care of his house and the education of his son. Trusted teacher and guide, passes on wisdom. The shadow mentor is more concerned with control than imparting wisdom. Ask yourself if you've shown a lifelong pattern of taking individual students or letting individual teachers under your wing, or where you were under their wing, guide you in their aspects of the life, but did you give your power away? Have you had relationships with either adults, parents, mentors, or you have been a mentor to someone where they've taken your power or you've taken theirs? That's why you got the card, to learn this lesson. We cannot take anyone's power, and maybe perhaps that's what you're afraid of. Maybe you're afraid of mirroring that person's behavior, or if it was you doing it again in a counseling setting. It's fear. You're just afraid. Someone needs to push you out of the nest like this one pushed me out this morning. I'm not the only teacher in the room. I'm just the loud one. She's subtle, but she's constantly teaching us, and more importantly with her behavior. I'm just a spaz. Okay? Does that make sense? You don't need to know anything. And you could pick a deck, and all of them have a book, and it's okay to tell your client, oh, well, let's read it. No one expects you to be a mind reader. You're human, and the more flawed you are, the more what the client has.
Comfort, more ties with you.
Yeah,
They'll
more
feel-
validation,
yeah.
more comfort, more empathy. There's more of that rapport.
They won't see you as just like a robot, just telling them, like off the top of their head, like they're reading something like an impromptu.
And they also don't think that you're doing this. Oh. And you could go a step further to tell a story, like I did. It wasn't about me, but that this exists. Or if I did have a story where I had a mentor, the guru at the cult. She took our power. That was her job. So of course that has to mirror me in some way. My whole life has been built on a relationship with a Busiris, with a cult leader who tried to take my power. And I'm still, to this day, partly I believe my cancer is related to that, trying to unravel that sweater so I never do that to another person. So we're mirroring here. And so you always can share something with a client that's relevant because it's a mirror. So you see, we just had a 20-minute session and there was nothing asked. And there was no God, and no one was put on a pedestal, and I read out of a book, and I didn't need to know a symbol. You could do this. It's not that hard. And if anything, you just say, how do you feel about that? Like in Freaky Friday. If nothing else. How do you feel about
My
that?
sister sent me that. She's like, this is the kind of therapist you're going to be. And she actually sent me the video clip, and she's like drawing and stuff while they're talking. I'm like, thanks, sister.
Okay, so let's go through the other houses. The second house, what does the second house say? So I can give you alternate options.
Resources, self-esteem, values, material security, attitudes toward possessions.
Okay, this is the money house. What did I tell you the symbol for money also meant?
Oh.
You made the, so I know you know it.
Yeah, but I think it's remembering.
Okay. Give you a hint. What did I say self was also self? No. Self-worth.
Oh, yeah.
Money equals self-worth.
Yeah.
So wherever you have a client talking about money or counting calories, there is a self